The Big Questions. Is there evidence for God? Part 3 of 4. We've already done 2 of these reactions. So you got to go back to the beginning. This is getting heated. This is intense. Is there any evidence for God is an interesting show here where they're debating. Francesca Stavrakopoulos here. There's several bright minds that are obviously on the panel here discussing. And this guy right here that we're about to see has been to prison and talked to God and all that. If you enjoy these, subscribe. Hit the bell. Like this video right now. It helps get the algorithm going. YouTube pays attention to that. And comment down below your favorite thing. I'm looking for your recommendations for videos. Let's see what happens next.
But swear.
But what was the feeling that you had at that moment?
Let me explain the feeling. When I swear a second time, he said, look, why are you swearing at me? Is it me or the chaplain who was impatient with you?
Mm-hmm.
Next thing I know, I was on my knees. I didn't want to cry. Tears were running down. But I was feeling this simultaneous emotion at the same time. A feeling of, sadness and a feeling of joy.
And this has revolutionized your life. You're a different person.
It has. And I could not explain until today why I'm able to have a simultaneous emotional feeling of joy and sadness at the same time. You try it yourself. Any of you can do that and prove it to me.
Sorry, what a shame that God didn't show up before you committed all those crimes.
But listen, you've got them all going. Look at this. Peter Atkins. Peter Atkins.
How would you tell the difference between...
Oh, you try and smoke wacky in the prison. See if you can get it.
How would you tell... How would you tell the difference between your experience and a hallucination?
How am I going to hallucinate? Can you hallucinate now for me? I don't take no drugs. Then?
This guy does not know a thing about the mind. You don't need drugs to hallucinate.
In the prison, I got no drinks, alcohol, nothing.
The mind
and I was in a mood of anger at the vicar.
Yeah, it's called hallucination.
Why would I want to...
as a result of it, though, your life has been utterly transformed.
Amen to that.
Amen to that. And you're a preacher. Yeah.
I mean, dude, I'd rather him be on Jesus than on some damn crime shit. Let's keep it real. Right? I say this all the time. David Wood says, if Jesus isn't true, I'll just go around murdering people, which is insane. It's stupid. So you better stay with Jesus.
Okay, David, go on.
Why are you so reluctant to acknowledge the possibility of hallucination? As I said, I had 4 days of
I've hallucinated before.
No.
I've taken LSD before.
I know, but answer me.
I know what hallucination.
But answer me this, because because I spent 4 days hallucinating. I thought the nurses in the hospital were going to kill me. Then I thought they were going to eat me. I thought the people who didn't exist in the next bed were plotting to have me taken away and murdered and so on. I absolutely believe this. I believe this as firmly as I believe that I'm speaking to you now. It wasn't until afterwards that I could understand that these were actually hallucinations. In other words, all I'm saying is that the mind is an extraordinary
That was post-operative psychosis that you had,
yeah.
wasn't it? But Francesco, in the Bible, if we read, if any Christian, any believer read an account such as Kim's in the Bible, they would say, God spoke to him. Yeah. But now there's a sort of a level of skepticism about it.
Because my story is mine. Who are you to tell me my story is not true? None of you could do that.
Francesco,
and I tell you about your life is false.
Myriad examples in the Bible. Wait a minute. Myriad examples in the Bible of God speaking directly to people, as Kim claims God spoke directly to him, aren't there?
And given that they're in the Bible, these people and their experiences, which I think broadly are primarily fictitious, but these people and their experiences are therefore special, and they become special in tradition, and they become special in the community. And I think to a certain degree, modern days people's experience of God speaking to them makes them feel special as well.
So there's a sense in which what she's saying is the fiction of God speaking to people in these stories, which doesn't mean that he wasn't, people weren't hearing gods and whatnot. Humans have been doing this who knows how long. But like that may be influencing his own listening to the sermon. Look at where he's at. He says he's there with a chaplain. He's clearly listening to the Bible. Whether he's cussing and pissed off, that's irrelevant. The guy is already being primed within a Christian context. He knows about this stuff, and here he is, now having this conversion to Jesus. You kind of almost want to wonder if it was like an imam preaching Muhammad and the truth of Islam, if this guy had converted and he had heard the words of Gabriel or some crap, that makes him believe. Like, come on, there's already precedent, right? Gabriel spoke to Muhammad, could have spoke to this guy.
And that's not to judge it, it's simply to say that it sets you out, it sets you apart from the rest.
The
way I arrived at atheism was I took a course, it's called the Psychoanalytic Study of Society, and they told us the delusions of a man named Schreber, who was a German judge, and he thought that God was going to make him a woman and inseminate him, and he showed me the allegories between the Annunciation of the Virgin Mary and this man's account of how God was going to inseminate him so he could bring forth a new race of human beings. And the delusion, the schizophrenic delusion, and the story of the Annunciation were so similar that I realized that the human mind can fabricate, and I'm really glad it had such a wonderful effect on your life.
And I know David Koresh.
I think it's quite important to avoid labels like schizophrenia. I think to
But Muhammad believed
people's
clearly when he went,
experience.
if you believe that it's the word of God, you believe it's the word of God. But if you don't,
Well, that's
you've got to
the
say
key
that
point.
he
It's about-
believed it, didn't he? That he was getting...
Well, exactly, but that's the key point. It's about interpretation. You don't have to label it as hallucination or schizophrenia if people have this experience. What seems to be important, I think, in terms of maintaining everybody's dignity and respecting everyone's religious positions, is that this is about interpretation. And your interpretation of what you experience might be very different from somebody else in that experience who may interpret it very
But you
differently.
actually said it was fictitious.
I said
Primarily
many
fictitious.
biblical stories are fictitious.
The stories are fictitious. You're actually saying that people's stories within the Bible are fictitious.
Well, I'm not saying that eyewitness accounts, no.
No, I think you'll be very careful about using that sort of language because those...
See, now, okay, so Francesca opened up a door on let's be polite, let's not call it schizophrenic or diagnosed or something. Something's going on in this dude who's hearing God in prison, right? Now this guy's criticizing her for using the word fictitious, but now you're labeling this. Come on, when does it stop?
Stories of people's experience, for example, of Jesus and what he did and the way he lived.
These are stories. These are literary products.
People's experience of God within the latter part of the New Testament were real to them and important to them. And you're saying they're fictitious, they're rubbish, they're lies.
I think that they're
Yeah,
fictitious.
okay.
I'm not
Okay.
factual. I didn't say that.
Well,
that's
okay, but you've got to be very careful,
careful.
I think, as a biblical scholar, of saying that they are fictitious.
I think there's every good reason to say that.
Yeah, she has excellent reasons to say they're fictitious. The book of Revelation itself, people go, oh no, that was like an acid trip. He took mushrooms, he's tripping. This is a well-polished apocalypse. I mean, this guy is literally crafting a well-written narrative of visions with God and angels and trumpets and plagues and all this visionary material. It's well-written. It's not like a real vision just being written down. Okay, I just saw this. Let me write it down. If you buy that, you're reading this, you don't know enough about ancient literature to understand that is how people wrote a lot of this material. This was not a real visionary thing. It is a well-crafted vision. It's a fictional one.
Only a few minutes ago, you were saying that you didn't believe in a God who intervened, and you didn't believe in this, you didn't believe in this, and that it was we shouldn't anthropomorphize God, and that we were putting people
Get his ass.
in boxes and we shouldn't do this. And now you're talking about stories in the Bible being literally true. Stories in the Bible about prophets, about people meeting God, about miracles being performed, virgin births. I mean, either these things are literally true and we've got an interventionist God, or we haven't.
No, I don't actually believe we have got an interventionist God, but I will...
So they are fictitious.
So it's fiction, the Bible, exactly as Francesca
I
said.
actually will allow...
Get him! Let him know what's up!
people their own experience and the right to have their own experience and that being true to them. And in my own life there have been things that may have happened to me which I feel are important to me, that have pointed in a sense, I like to think of a whole load of arrows that have helped get me to a disclosure situation where actually I suddenly take the decision, actually I do believe in this God.
But
Some
we do.
days I don't believe quite so much,
Scientists
but
will-
other days I do, because there's enough there to make me
This God
jump
doesn't
over that particular thing.
Scientists will tell us that we are pattern-seeking mammals. We look for reasons and we look for patterns. But it's interesting what you said there was some days you believe less than others.
Yes,
What
I
makes
think-
you not believe?
I think, like any person who is searching for faith, and I hope I'm still searching for faith, you constantly try to listen to those who disagree with you. You try and grow in your faith. You try and learn more about
Why
your
do you
faith.
search
and
for... Sorry, can I ask this?
Because
Why do you
actually,
search for it?
Because I believe that
no.
I have a spiritual dimension within me which needs to be fed, and that's one of the important things.
But that's exactly a huge... Because this is the thing, and lots of people feel like there's a gap in their lives, and if that happens to be a gap that God happens to fit, well, that's evidence for
No,
God.
I don't
but that's
actually
not
feel a
true.
gap. I
The
actually
existence, let me finish, the existence of a gap doesn't mean that something exists to fill that gap. That's the argument that says every colander is a bowl. It's not. Some gaps are just gaps, and yes, we all feel emptiness sometimes.
No,
that
I
doesn't
actually-
mean there's a God
David,
up there.
what were you going to say? Sorry.
No,
She did good. Hey, I wish the host recognized her more. I don't know. He's doing the best I guess he can, but she kills it.
This takes it back to the human need for the thing rather than the thing itself. You have decided to search for it. Hardly surprisingly, quite often you find it because you are actively searching for it. And in a way, that's what the distinction here in this discussion is about. You, on this side, you're always searching for the thing. You lean towards it, you want it to be, you conjure it into existence, you will do everything that you can to do that.
Because
myself, I'm speaking to that, and actually, quite often you do no harm in doing that. Sometimes you do, often that you don't. Myself, I don't have that need, so I don't search for it, neither do I feel the need to search again.
No, that's fine, David, that belongs to you, but I actually have experienced in my life sometimes transcendence.
Then God's active in some way, it feels like.
Some sense of the other.
Is that
Some
what we were
sense
talking
of
about
God.
earlier on?
Some sense of God, something which is out beyond me, something which you might describe as ultimate
You want
reality.
it.
That has become real to me.
What is that feeling?
Remember the question of this video? Is there any evidence for God? And it was about, I sense, I gotta have, I want that. I mean, come on.
And
What is that feeling?
That
What is
and
that?
helping that
What is that feeling?
discover that.
It was looking at a thing of great beauty or love, the feeling of love. Is it what we were trying
Actually,
to...
sometimes being taken out of myself by beautiful music, which has taken me way beyond any taken me
Elevated.
to a different place, elevated me in a way that's closer to God. Sometimes when I've sat in a beautiful place in the country and actually thought, what is all this about?
Touched by God.
I have felt something which is beyond me, something of the ultimate reality.
Peter Atkins.
And do you think that we atheists do not feel the same sense of grandeur and wonder at the world? Of course we do.
Of course you do. Fine, absolutely. And that's led me down my road and it's led you down your road. What's the problem?
But instead
Well, wait a minute, Kate. When he feels that sense of wonder, is he touched by God? And he doesn't know it.
That's up to him to decide whether he does
We're looking
or not.
for truth. We're looking for truth. And it's either...
So am I.
No, you're looking for truth inside yourself.
I'm looking for truth too. I'm engaged in a search around this issue.
No,
you
you're
also
not.
are engaged in the same
Well, listen.
search. You come to a different conclusion.
Patsy, Jesus found you as well, didn't he? Because through a tragedy that would be so difficult. Patsy's son was shot. Dory.
Jesus or God?
Sorry? What? Sorry.
Was it Jesus who found it or God? Sorry.
Well, now we're into a
Some people say
theological issue
Jesus is
between
God. They are the
a
same
theological
person.
issue between Islamic Christianity about the
Can
Holy
just confine
Trinity
it
and
to God,
the
to
single
God.
God, which we're not actually debating this morning. But Mohammed, I
know.
appreciate your contribution. Patsy. So Dory was shot, and it would shake the faith of many people. But your life was transformed. You believe it was for a reason.
Yeah, I do believe that my life was transformed after the death of my son. But I believe I actually was getting there before that. I had different experiences in my life because I believe in God, I believe he exists, and I believe what the Bible tells me. What other people believe is that's their way of living, okay? And no one can tell me what I believe isn't true, and I'm not telling anyone else what they believe isn't true, because I think God is it's a personal thing about God for me. So when my son was shot and killed, I was asking the God that I believed in, well, couldn't you save him? Couldn't you, do something? Why is he dead? But because I have faith, and one of the verses in the Bible that actually kind of got a hold of me. It said, I think it's in Romans, it said, all things are working together for the good of those who love God. And I know I was a person who loved him, even though some people don't think he exists. I know he exists because he speaks to me as well. We have conversations on a daily basis.
What do you mean? Can I explore that a little bit with you?
Well, I talk to him about my own personal life, and he talks to me about things, and he revealed things to me, and I will say things to people, and they said, how did you know that? So I believe that's God doing that.
Do you hear a voice,
for me.
or is it something more subtle than that?
It's, I think that the odd times it's more from within.
From a feeling?
Not a feeling, it's a talk. It's like you having a conversation with someone and you're hearing their voice.
Okay.
Do you get me saying? That's for me anyway. So when I looked at what has happened after that, I was in pain. I really believe everything.
Where was he when Dory was shot? Where was God?
Where was he? I think I was asked that question once before by a television person, and I said right where he was when his son was being crucified for the sins of the world. Exactly the same.
And that's praised. That sucks. I guess it's a coping mechanism. It's a coping mechanism, but like that sucks. It really sucks. You know, life's going to be tough. We're all going to have loved ones. We're all going to go through some bad shit. But like when you have the brain has to cope so much to justify God's being absent in light of the death of your loved one and not do something about it. When he has the power in your book, you're looking at your book. It's your book, you know. He can do these things, and he doesn't do it according to this. It's just sad that that's how we cope. But if it helps give them meaning and purpose because they're so traumatized from what happened that it just fills that hole, then I get it. I do get it. We are human. We're not robots. We're not like absolute AI. We don't have it all figured out. We're animals here trying to make it. And, you know, we will rationalize our way into anything, you know.
So what I'm saying is that's where he is and that's where he is. But I personally believe that the earth actually belongs to us. Okay? And we have dominion and authority. But not only that, we are like God. That's what I believe. We are like God.
Why do tsunamis happen? What about the tsunami, for example?
Well, I really believe, again, it has to do with us because we are kind of, according to the word, and that's what I believe, we are in charge of down here. Yeah? And we have...
So tectonic plate shifts our fault? Volcanic eruptions our fault? Tsunamis our fault?
A choice. You know, Psalms 82 said, ye are gods, but you will die like men. So it's really important for me that we recognize that everything we speak and everything we say, we are creating all the time. Some people don't believe that. But I believe we are creating. We create with our lips and with our words, just like the Genesis says, and God spoke and it was so. Do you see what I mean?
Did Dory have
to
die for this to happen?
I don't say he had to die. Everyone's going to die anyway. And there's nobody here when we came into the world, it said, well, you've got 2 years to live or 4 years to live. We don't know that. You know, and we know everyone's going to die. That's where we're going. And for the Christians, we say death is the best thing. So, you know.
That sucks. Death is the best thing. This gets Christopher Hitchens' point out that this is a death cult that they're waiting for the end. They want the apocalypse. They want the death. They want it. It's like, that sucks. You know, we're all going to die. Sure. But let's I don't think being like, yeah, that's the best thing. We're going to die, you know?
I mean, when we die, we're going back to where we came from. So if that is so, and if
that's this, there's a story, I got to tell you, if we die and we go back to where we came from, we're going to be all better then. And this is the rough part. You know, there were ancient Eleusinian mystery cults. I think it was Eleusinian, not Samothracian. There's different ones, right? And they were running around trying to evangelize. Maybe they were Orphics. I'm not sure. They came to one of these philosophers. It's a well-known story. And they said, listen, if you just join our mystery cult, join our mystery religion and believe our things, you, too, will also enter the Eleusinian blissful afterlife. And the philosopher turned back on them and says, well, then why don't you end your life now so you could be in this great place you keep describing? And they walked away. They had nothing else to share. Because it's like you kind of got me there. Because if you believe it so much, why don't you end it now so you can go there? Well, we don't want to do that, huh? Well, you obviously don't really think it's true on that level that you're willing to commit to that level. Some are, don't get me wrong, but this question reverses that onto them to make them go, and you got to think about that, Makes me think of the Tim mentioned when he was talking about that in that one reaction I did. If you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out on the channel. He says, like, believers have like two minds. They're double-minded. Like, they believe in magic, but they won't step in front of a bus saying God's going to stop the bus. Maybe some might be delusional enough to do it. But most of them live in a materialist world. They believe in the natural law and the material world so much so, and not the magic. So it's almost like one side of the brain says, don't be dumb. The other side of the brain is like, abracadabra.
What I believe, and I really believe everything is working, you know what I mean, and it's working, there's a plan and a purpose.
And of course, one day you believe that you'll be reunited with your son.
Oh, I do believe that. Yeah. It's amazingly, because soon after he died, I remember I was in the back garden doing something, and all of a sudden I heard his voice, and he says, Mummy, why are you so sad? And I said, I looked around first of all.
That's sad. That is sad.
He's just, died maybe a couple of weeks ago, and then I said, because I miss you, and he said, I'm fine, I'm all right. And that actually gave me another kind of a peace within me, and to go forward, to do the things that I need to do. And I'm here today because my son died. I really wouldn't be here. I really wouldn't be doing the things that I'm doing. I would be sat in church, doing what would normally do to church, go to church, read the Bible, pray.
And you're helping guys reform.
And now, yes. So I really believe there is a God. And there's no doubt about it. As far as I'm concerned.
And Diana, she's inferred from what's happened that there's been a reason, right?
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful story, and I think that if that's improved your life, that's fine. For me, I actually don't have any problem with people being religious unless it keeps them from understanding the world rationally, if it prevents them. And then I also think that religion, in a certain way, really encourages a certain kind of good behavior, but not other kinds of good behavior. I think religious morality is very circumscribed, and I think that religious people are often good to other religious people within their faith, but they're often not good to other people. They're not good to animals. And these are the things that are important to me.
I'm not religious.
You're not
religious? I don't believe in religion. I believe in God. And for me, God is God. I don't believe in religion. Yes. Religion has caused too much problems. I believe in God, and that's what I believe. I believe Jesus died for me, and that's what I believe. What other people believe is up to them, but we'll find out sooner or later when we die.
Wow. I always hear that. I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. How often do you hear that one? It's getting intense. Look, the next video is the 4 of 4, the last of the Mohicans. Okay, just kidding. I don't know why that movie came to mind. But seriously, the big questions, right? Is there evidence for God? What do you think is happening so far? This is crazy. I'm enjoying these reactions, having fun with you. I hope you're having fun. Comment down below what you thought about this video. Let me know if you have any recommendations on reactions and such, and I will do my best. I'm busy, but I really do want to do some reactions on your suggestions, some goodies. Get me the goodies. I want goodies, okay? Also, like this video. It's a free way of helping us grow. Liking and commenting can help this channel grow significantly. Your interaction, YouTube looks for that. Engagement helps grow our communities. So do so. Subscribe, hit the bell, hit all, and share this to your communities. Until next time, let's check out video 4. See you then.